So we all saw the recent story of the woman that was taken out of this world by her inmate husband during a conjugal visit a few months back. Well, it has recently came out that she was actually the second person that was taken out under the same circumstances. Different inmate, but same thing. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. But what I want y'all to also understand is that conjugal visits have a racially charged history to them too. But we'll get to that after we play this.
Investigation. We reported first last week the November death of a woman at Mule Creek State Prison during a conjugal visit with her husband was ruled a homicide. And now we're learning another woman was also murdered during a visit with her husband at the same prison a few months before that. Both deadly incidents taking place at the Mule Creek State Prison in Ione. That's in Amador County. KCRA3 investigates Lizzie Mitri spoke exclusively with that woman's family.
Curtis, this family saw our investigation last week after the murder of 62-year-old Stephanie Dowles, and they said they felt compelled to come forward with their story.
We were born and raised in San Francisco. We were raised by our grandparents. And this is just a little collage of her life.
Janine Rojo and her cousin weren't just close in age.
We've literally been together since birth.
They did everything together until July 1st when everything changed.
It's just tragic what happened.
Her cousin, a single mother of one, died.
Tanya Vanessa Corpus Thomas, she was 47 years old.
She says Thomas spent more than half her life battling lupus, but the family learned the disease is not what killed her.
For her to be taken away this way, it's gut-wrenching.
The Amador County District Attorney tells KCRA3 investigates Thomas's husband, 48-year-old Anthony Curry, is charged with her murder.
Oh, it hit my gut.
He's accused of strangling Thomas during a conjugal visit at Mule Creek State Prison. Court records show Curry was already serving time in prison for a conviction of attempted murder following the 1999 shooting of his 19-year-old girlfriend at the time.
He shot a girl in the head and dumped her body, so he left her body for dead.
She was found at a remote truck stop in Richmond, barely alive. A gunshot wound to the head left her permanently blind and partially paralyzed.
He's a violent person.
Rojo says she had no idea her cousin even had conjugal visits with him.
With that history of severe violence, why are they being allowed to have these visits?
Let me touch on a topic right quick and the importance of family before I finish this. There's no victim blaming, victim shaming going to be in this video at all. But as a general view, this is one of the reasons why family staying together, following certain criteria, has to be adhered to. It doesn't have anything to do with your happiness. It's like the scriptures I read and studied that, marriage has there's 5 criteria to marriage, and none of them has to do anything with your happiness. Number one thing is duty as a family, husband, wife. And I say to say this. Now, we don't know. Now, she said her and her cousin grew up with the grandparents. So we don't know the backstory as to what happened to the parents. We don't know the backstory. It's good. It'll be great to know that. Because you always want to I always feel that if you want to solve a problem, you have to go all the way back to the root. But I learned that in nursing school, as in I had an instructor, great instructor, Miss Gilliam, back at Brookhaven. Yeah. One of the things she told me was that as a nurse, you're supposed to ask why until you can't ask why anymore. That's what critical thinking basically is. So even though these two ladies came to their demise by 2 inmates, which is crazy, you always want to know the backstory as to what you could have done to prevent a problem or what you can do to fix a problem. or to make sure that it doesn't happen again. That's what critical thinking is about. Too many, most of our everything in our lives, most of the things in our lives are based on fixing a situation, handling this situation right here as a one-off, and that's it. Putting a bandage on it so it can be suppressed, not cured, but suppressed. Hurt. How you say, treated, and so we can move on. And if it flares up again, we'll treat it again, move on. That's what our society is based on everything, inside and outside the medical field. So my point is, like I said, so I want to know, like, it'd be great to know her family dynamics. Like, what happened to the parents? Were they, did they die for some reason? Okay, were they strung out on drugs? Was it like, did something happen to them to where they just abandoned the kids? Was it something that happened to them to where did they? Because she looked like she's Asian, so who knows? Maybe the family is in another country, sent the kids over to the grandmother because it's in the United States. Who knows? But again, the question is, like, say, why were they in a position to be raised by the grandmother? Because what they call, what you have to realize is that causes, what do you call it? The children are going to be missing something. One, they're going to be missing their parents, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times you see, just say, like, you get the situations where you have single mothers and they act like the kids don't need the father around. You know what I'm saying? Forget the dad. All they need is me. I've seen videos where girls say they want to have kids. Hell, I've seen grown women say they want to have babies and don't want to get married. That's selfish because you're not understanding the whole dynamic. That's why a lot of times I refer back to the scriptures because, like, old folks used to tell you, you know what I'm saying? When old folks would tell you something and you would ask why, and they would say, "Don't ask me why, just do it." And then you get years go on and people say, "That's not fair. The kids should know." I'm not gonna do my kids like that. They ask me why I'm just gonna tell them. And what you're not understanding is people who have a criminal mindset or a, what do you say? So kids are gonna try you. Let's don't call them criminals, but have a mindset of trying to get over, and that's what children will do. They want to know why, not just so you can explain to them. Say, "Oh, okay, I get it. Now I know how to do it no more." A lot of times is, okay, this is why you're doing it. Okay, so let me change it up a little bit to where that why doesn't make sense. And then I can still do what I want to. You got to understand those dynamics. But a lot of times people forget that they were once children. And it was once 2, 3, 5, 13 years old. And they did everything they could to get over on their parents. And their parents, put heads to bed on it. So again, you want to, like I say, you want to know the dynamic, because the bottom line is try to keeping the family together. Like in the scriptures, it has that two people are married, and let's say, like, the husband dies, then the wife is a betrothed or whatever, but she goes to, like, the brother, because back then, you have multiple wives or whatever. Let's say go back to the brother, and I mean she becomes like the wife of the brother, not for sexual reasons, but for protection reasons. If there's no siblings or no father, there's no siblings, the brother doesn't have, like, her husband doesn't have, like, a siblings or even his father or somebody that she can go to, she will go back home to her family. You see what I'm saying? There's so much, but like I say, and none of this is about sexual reasons. It's about protection reasons. And people like to say, the Bible is outdated. Truly, it's not. You just have to understand the concept and want to understand the concept and want to understand how to conform in order to keep yourself safe. So with that said, you got two women who married men. I believe not so much. I don't know about this woman that's talking, the friend of the woman that's talking, the cousin of the woman that's talking here, but the woman of the original story, she married a guy while he was in prison. This woman married a guy who was in jail for trying to take out his girlfriend, 19-year-old girlfriend back in the day. Those should be red flags. Those are red flags that men, not your sons, not your son husbands, but your husbands, your brothers, your uncles, your fathers, your grandfathers would be like, "Nah, you're not finna do that. There's no way in the heck you're gonna sit there and marry this man. Why are you even talking to a guy in prison in the first place? It can't be that bad out in the free world to where you feel like you got to talk to a man in prison." And then the question becomes, why is it that women like bad boys and people women always think they can nurture somebody. Think they can change a man for some strange reason. I don't understand why. They always feel they can do that. And that's a big problem. But you do have to go back to the original story in the scriptures of Adam and Eve and the fall of man. And that, think about it. Eve had Adam, a husband, who pretty much created, I ain't gonna say created, but yeah, created the world that she knew of because the Most High created everything. He had the man name all the animals and everything and showed him how to take care of everything. And, gave him the job of making sure he, taking care of everything. So he had a woman who was just the help me. There to, to give him encouragement, to be there, his help me. I heard a woman say that her husband was a help me. Now, man, I almost lost my marbles on that. But anyway, and she had all that, everything taken care of. Came in a winter. And what did she do? She went and listened to the bad boy. And the bad boy got her in trouble, which got everybody in trouble. Think about that.
It's unsupervised.
It's something she kept to herself until she saw the story on the November death of 62-year-old Stephanie Dow.
4 months after a woman died while visiting an inmate at Mule Creek State Prison, we've learned her death is now deemed a homicide.
Another woman killed at Mule Creek State Prison during a conjugal visit with her husband, a 4-time convicted murderer.
I was sick to my stomach and I was in tears.
She could no longer stay silent.
I'm not against conjugal visits. However, there's already 2 murders at Mule Creek. What can be done to prevent this from happening again? Maybe put more prison guards out to do more safety checks, to anything to save another life.
The CDCR website shows inmates can't have conjugal visits if they're on death row, convicted of sex offenses if they're going through the reception process upon arrival to a prison, or if they have disciplinary restrictions. But there is no mention of violent crime convictions. CDCR says inmates have to apply and meet strict criteria to earn the privilege of family visits. And they say these visits are meant to support family connection and rehabilitation.
Okay, so a lot of people would say 1 murder is too many, 2 murders, way too many. What security measures are in place to protect people who are there visiting?
Right, we had to go through their manual to see what do they do, how do they make sure people are safe. What we could find is inmates have to present themselves for a count at least 4 times in 24 hours. And the prison can order unscheduled inspections. But otherwise, the manual really highlights that they try to ensure the inmate's privacy.
But we know about a second case because
How do inmates have privacy and you are an inmate? You committed a crime. I don't understand conjugal visits for somebody who took out 4 people. That makes not a lick of sense. They talking about that as long as they're in the prison and they're acting good, then they can apply for it. They say not a lot of people get it, but I'm trying to figure out how in the heck does out of the 100-something people that get it, one of them is a person who has deleted 4 people. Make that make sense. Sometimes you gotta use common sense. Sometimes you gotta judge a book by its cover. It's a lot of inmates. If you ask them, they'll tell you that they either find Jesus or Allah in prison, and they've been reading the Quran and the Bible 7 times a day, pray 12 times a day, and don't eat pork. They'll tell you that. And then when they get out, they're back doing the same thing. If they get out, they'll be back doing the same thing. See, being locked up, you know what I'm saying, probably in the cage, probably humbles people, make you docile to a point because you're not getting out. But this dude got 4 life sentences, not getting out. How does he even come across your desk? Man, I've seen more racism and prejudice with a job looking at your application than in this process right here. In this process right here, the application come across the board. If it say this dude ain't never getting out, for what? Bye. Because he done deleted 4 people. Next. But they rather, anyway. Gotta get
family
to.
came forward. How many other cases are there that we don't know about?
Right. And we have asked the corrections department, and they responded to our inquiry, answering everything except for that question. So we followed up, and we are hoping to hear back from them soon.
All right, Lizzie, thank you. And while the November death was ruled a homicide, Stephanie Dow's husband has not been charged with murder. The prison says it is still investigating.
So they said that he's not charged, which is crazy. Say it's a homicide, but he's not charged yet. I wonder why. I'm thinking that maybe it's because probably let's just damn, hate to be the devil's advocate, but think about this. Conjugal visits. Spend the night. Your wife coming. You know you're gonna be trying to clap cheeks, right? Who know? Maybe it was one of them freaky deaky things, and it just went too far. So maybe that could be what his story is. So they have to look into it. So they have to investigate. If he just said, "Yeah, man, she made me mad, and I just strangled it, bro," then it'd be like, boom, that's it. But he probably saying giving some kind of excuse or trying to explain as to why it happened, and so they had to investigate it. But then too, it could also have been that he was upset with her because if you look at her social media pages, this woman was she 67, something like that. She's in the 60s. On her social media pages, she does have some I don't want to say provocative or sexually charged pictures. But she got clothes where she, showing a lot of cleavage, looking real sexy on the clothes, looking real nice for a 60-something-year-old woman. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he got jealous. Maybe he got pissed. Saying, why you online looking like this? You know what I'm saying? I just seen my boys done, snuck in some video, snuck in some phones, and I saw your social media page. You know what I'm saying? Why you on here looking out here like you chasing? I ain't good enough for you? That could have been it too. But anyway, we don't know, but we'll see. But I want to get to my point of, like I say, conjugal vigilance was actually created for Black inmates. Um, Shout out to and rest in peace to Neely Fuller. I know he said that if you don't understand the system of white supremacy in this country or this world, you will not understand how the world works. And people looked at him like he was crazy. Matter of fact, his book, I know it's in. I'm about to bring it in here because I'm tired of talking about it and not showing it to you. But he put out a book and that tells you everything about the system and how to operate in the system. But this is one example of it being, like I say, racially motivated. Like I say, system white supremacy. This is a USA Today article, and it reads: "States abandoning conjugal visits." Now, I just want to read a little bit of it, so to get to the point. This is from Parchment, Mississippi. It said to spend time alone with the man she married for 4 months. She married 4 months ago. When was this created? This is 2014. So this is about 10 years ago. There is a more updated story, but I wanted to just use this one just for the point, to make the point. To spend time alone with the man she married 4 months ago, Ebony Fisher, 25, drives nearly 3 hours through the cotton fields of the Mississippi Delta until she pulls into a gravel lot next to the state's penitentiary. She joins her husband, who in 2008 began serving a 60-year sentence for, doing something bad to somebody physically. Aggravated assault and arson in a small room with a metal bunk and a bathroom. For an hour, they get to act like a married couple. That little 60 minutes isn't a lot of time, but I appreciate it because we can just talk and hold each other and be with each other, said Fisher, who is studying to be a surgical assistant. Women, why do y'all marry and or stay with men in prison? I guess, you know what? No, it's crazy. This is why men do not understand women on stuff like this. You got a woman 25. We'll see how long it stays. But even for a small amount of time, because a lot of time after a while, women get older, they change their views, they get smarter, and they'll divorce the dude. They'll stop seeing the dude like years and figure out they don't waste their life, waste their time. The dude ain't getting out in 60 years. You're 25 years old. So he may spend 40, 50 years in prison. By that time, you're trying to be a surgical assistant. You get your nice degree, get your nice career going, make you some good money. Shoot, move out the state, out of Mississippi, go somewhere else. So you never got to worry about this dude again. This is, like I said, this is where this is why we don't understand women. This woman is willing to be with this man, marry this man. This cat is locked up, can't see him every day. Rather be with, but will be married to this man, go see this man once a week, drive 3 hours once a week just to get her cheeks clapped, and they can talk for 1 hour, and that's good enough. But yet you got women out here who got men out here in the free world who can offer you way more than this dude. Because the only thing this dude can do for you is clap your cheeks every once, once a week, send letters, and you put money on his books. I ain't saying nothing about children, but I'm sure one will probably be conceived, and in this time, probably has been conceived, which is a strain, which I don't understand. We'll get to that in a minute. You got men out here who can give you a whole hell of a lot more than this man in prison, but yet you will sit there and dog men out, talking about ain't no good men out here. Men ain't nothing. You can't stand him. He ain't nice. He don't understand my feelings. I see these dudes in prison. They can write real good love letters and stuff and poems and stuff and make you feel like the queen. And that's all it takes. If that's all it takes, and women, you really don't have as high standards as you think, as you claim you do. But I already know female dudes can talk a good game and get pretty much any female they want. They just don't. They don't want to. They don't want to put it out there. They don't want you to believe it, but it's true. She says, let's say I'll go back. That little 60 minutes isn't a lot of time, but I appreciate it because we can just talk, hold each other, and be with each other, said Fisher, who is studying to be a surgical assistant. Now remember, that's all women are saying. As long we can be under a bridge, as long as we are together, you know what I'm saying? We'll be okay. Shh, nigga, we got bills. Man, I gotta go make this money. We gotta get from under this bridge. But conjugal visits, a concept that started here at the Mississippi State Penitentiary as a prisoner control practice in the days of Jim Crow, will soon be over. Christopher B. Epps, the prison commissioner, plans to end the program on February 1st, citing budgetary reasons and the number of babies being born possibly as a result. That is a problem. That is a problem. This is one reason why there should not be conjugal visits. Not just think about it, babies being born in jail from female inmates and babies being born outside of the prison by the wives and it had to be the wives, by the wives of inmates. See, what you create is a problem where that child is missing a parent. If a woman is incarcerated and she has a child in prison, that child gets taken from her. Right? And let's say father, who knows if he want the baby or not? Or the father is with him, okay, but the child's mother's in prison. How is that going to affect the child's upbringing? Or let's say the child ends up living with the grandparents. Now the child is without both parents. How is that going to help or benefit the child? Same thing if a woman gets pregnant and her husband is an inmate. Now the woman gets pregnant, your father is in prison. Like I say, how does that benefit or help the child? In other words, that's a very selfish, very, very selfish decision to have children while one of the parents is incarcerated. It's very selfish, and you're not looking out for the benefit of the child at all. All you're doing is looking out for yourself. Hey, but look here. You got these women who say all they want to do is have babies. They don't want to be married. There you go. Pen pal somebody. Married a guy. You know what I'm saying? He in prison. Pen pal you know what I'm saying? A guy who ain't never getting out. He in prison. He ain't never getting out. That way, you know what I'm saying? Y'all get married. Then when you get, it's only a couple of states that's doing it now. About 3 or 4 states is doing it now. California, one of them. And then you go get a conjugal visit. It's gonna let them clap your cakes. You know what I'm saying? One good time, and you can have that baby, and then you can move on. You know what I'm saying? Don't have to worry about it, right? Boy, that's stupid. In Mississippi, where more than 22,000 prisoners are incarcerated, the second highest rate in the nation, 155 inmates participated last year in the conjugal visit. Like I say, only a few hundred people do this. Since they began here in the early 1900s, conjugal visits has been an unlikely barometer of racial morals and changing times in both Mississippi and in the states like California and New York, where married same-sex couples can participate. Amazing. In the 1970s, new prisons often included special housing for what had come to be called extended family visits. But by 1993, only 17 states allowed conjugal visits. Mississippi are one of just five to have the actual program. I think it's like three now. And see what I'm trying to get you. See, in California and New York, they are called family visits, are designed to help keep the family together in the environment and approximate home. Visits in those states and in Washington and in New Mexico can last 24 hours to 3 days. They are spent in small apartments or trailers, often with children and grandparents, largely left alone by prison guards. Visitors bring their own food and sometimes have a barbecue. Oh, ain't that nice? Now I can understand having it. Let's say you got an inmate that is getting out and he needs some motivation to, you know what I'm saying, to do right while he's in prison so he can complete his sentence, so he can get out and he'll become a productive member of society. But for cats who in there for like mass murdering and ain't never getting out, I don't know. I don't know about that. It said, now check this out. Studies cited by Yale law students in the 2012 review of family visitation program showed that the programs could work as powerful incentives for good behavior, help reduce sexual activity among prisoners, and help strengthen families. Also, it could cause a lot of violence in prisons because you think, and you know what? Matter of fact, it could probably increase assaults in prison. Why? Because you're gonna have folks that's hating on you. You go out there, see your wife, you know what I'm saying, clap your cake, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, get your rocks off, come back all cool. That dude that's in the cell with you, the one that ain't never getting, the one that didn't qualify for the conjugal visits, he gonna be pissed. Like, oh hell no. Oh, you ain't got yours? Okay, now I'm finna get mine from you. That could see. But anyway, let's keep going. It say Mississippi ended its more extensive family visitation last year. Now remember, this is an older story, so it's not last year. But left in place the hour long visits, which have been designed more as a way to control inmates than nurture relationships. Check it out. The notion for allowing prisoners to have sex was born here shortly after Parchment Farm opened in 1903 as a series of work camps on 1,600 acres of farmland. Inmates, most of whom were black, were used as free farm labor in an arrangement not that far removed from slavery. I'm going to put this link in the description. I want y'all to read this for yourself. The warden at the time believed sex could be used to compel black men to work harder in the fields. According to a history on the practice produced in the 1970s by Tyler Fletcher, who founded the Department of Criminal Justice at the University of Southern Mississippi in 1973. Accordingly, black prisoners were allowed time on Sunday with spouses or more often prostitutes. You remember that movie Life? That was based in the state of Mississippi. And you remember seeing where they had those conjugal visits and they had like the room they can go into. And they had like an hour to go into that. That was created for black prisoners to incentivize them to work harder. Again, we have been tested, we have been guinea pig, things tried on those beliefs have been created all because of the color of our skin. Not because of why we're in prison, how long we're going to be in prison. It's because they feel that we are such sexual deviants in animals that one, they want to stop the, inmates from having sex with each other. But yet they also want to incentivize inmates who ain't getting paid, well, the inmates, But we know back then it was like another form of slavery because it's in Jim Crow because the Constitution ratified slavery, but yet except for in prison. So then they have like these folks get arrested just for walking down the street because they ain't working. They go to jail, get on these farms, these plantations, and they work for the prisons. They get leased out to these prisoners, as workers. It was a whole system. Like I say, based on racism, you have to understand how this country was created, and it's a lot, man. It's a lot. What did it say? According to Black prison, okay, announcing December decision to stop the hour-long conjugal visits came as a surprise to the handful of prison spouses who rely on them. Several have taken to Facebook and other online forums. Yeah, Facebook, this is 10 years ago. And forums and written to lawmakers to try to say what they can, try to save what they say is an essential part of their relationship. But state rep Richard Benton, Republican of Long Beach, wants the practice stop, and he said no amount of protest would change his mind. And you gotta think about it too. I'm not gonna, I'll let y'all read the rest of it, but you gotta think about it too. Like I say, the baby part. When a child is born, the state gonna pay for that, or you, taxpayers, gonna pay for that because one of the parents is gonna be missing. So the child gonna become a ward in the state, especially if it's born in the prison. If it's born out, most likely single parent might try to get food stamps, WIC, all that kind of stuff. Federal, state, and federal aid. It's gonna come out your taxes, all because of somebody else's selfish decision. Selfish decision. You know what it should do? States, and it's crazy. It may sound harsh, but hey, it's the only way you're gonna change it. Because they say what 40%, 47% of all single mothers are women in our community. So we gotta understand this. What if the government created an incentive saying that married people, if you are married and you have children, as long as you are married, you'll be incentivized. Not talking about the no tax credit. Ain't talking about that. We're talking because taxes only come once a year, and then once we get that check, that money's gone. We move on to the next thing. We're talking about incentive, like I say, every year you get a check. Understand that, yeah, you get top education, top, what I'm saying, the wife be incentivized to stay home and not work. She'll get a check from the government, help, get government assistance. The way the husband go out and work 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs if you need to. No matter how much he make, that wife would get, incentives, get the benefits. Uh, it may be based on how much the husband makes, but they still get something, like say car seats, daycare. She really shouldn't get daycare, uh, but schooling, after school activities, food, stuff like that. The government would help. Housing. The government would help in all that if married people would have children and stay together. As long as they're together, they get these benefits. If they get separated, no, you don't get the benefits. Those things die, and then we'll figure out who should have the child, and saying who's going to help support who's going to help support the child. I think that, and I think that might cut out a lot of single parenthood. Get somebody an incentive to do something right instead of the incentive of doing something that ain't right. But that's a whole nother story too. But like I say, I'm trying to see something real quick about this. Like I said, the conjugal visits is again, like I say, it was based, like I said, racially motivated. It was created for racism. Let's say the practice expanded to 17 states by 1990s. And then, like I said, I think only like California, Connecticut, New York, and Washington. There are now only 4 states that allow some kind of conjugal visits. Yeah, California, Connecticut, New York, and Washington. That's it. It said inmates have to meet certain requirements to be eligible for the visit, and usually only a few fit the bill. Before New Mexico did away with the visit, fewer than 150 of the United States, more than 7,000 prisoners qualified. So, like I say, it's not a lot of people being able to do it. But again, with that being said, how is it that somebody who deleted 4 people get on that, you know what I'm saying, get on that list. That is amazing. You can tell that dude is very manipulative for real. But anyway, that's all I got for this story, y'all. I want to thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you nothing but maybe a couple minutes of the day, but it means the world to us here. Hey, if you like to support the channel financially, you can always get super thanks, super chat, super stickers, or there are links in the description box that you can click on to help support the channel that way. But if you would like something tangible for your dollars, which a lot of people do, hey, you can go to the description box. We have hit up marlonmorale.com, or you can hit the shop button below, where we have products that I know you would love. You got beard products, uh, silk products, colognes, perfumes, and a lot more. Check it out. You will not be disappointed. With that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.